burns the germs.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case.
I'm a little bit low energy. I'm feeling a bit of soy today, Destiny. I'm not going to lie. I still went to the gym. I did a podcast with Act. But you wanted to do a chit chat about Tate?
Yeah, damn. So I looked a little bit more into the Andrew Tate shit. It looks pretty rough. I'm going to be honest.
What, the lover boy thing, whatever?
Yeah.
What about it looks rough?
Well, it kind of seems like he kind of sort of admitted to doing it all.
To doing what?
The lover boy
Having
thing.
cam girls?
That he would get girls, get them in love with him, get them entrapped in a business, steal money from them, make them work for him. And then
Steal money? No, they got their pay cut.
Yeah, their cut was, but he stole from them. He literally admits in the video, he talks about how you can lie about how much taxes you're paying on behalf of them to steal like a bigger cut than what they're aware of because they're too stupid to figure it out otherwise.
What law is that breaking? That's not human trafficking.
Hold on. I just want to hear it in a sec. Did you just say what law is that breaking? That
Yeah,
if
what
I
law
tell
did you
you to
break?
pay something and I lie to you about it, well, my guess is probably something to do with
That's not
theft.
what he did. That's not what I'm saying. What law are you accusing of Andrew
Well,
Tate?
my guess is it's going to be some form of
Breaking.
theft or fraud. That'd be my guess. If I tell you that I'm paying you $100, that's your cut, but I'm actually
theft
stealing.
so maybe fraud, but not human. You're not accusing him of human trafficking.
Well, no. That's just one part of the human trafficking, was the theft and fraud. The human trafficking part is when he ropes girls into his organization with the only intention of getting them to be camp girls for free. And then I think some of the accusations are he uses physical intimidation or violence to get them hooked onto whatever program so that they feel like they can't leave.
See, the lover boy method is not physical intimidation and violence.
I'm not talking about just the Loverboy method. That was one of the accusations that the Romanian
they're
police
accusing
leave.
him of manipulating them with love. Like these girls fall in love with them and then they don't know how to leave and they're just kind of confused and manipulated by love.
Sure. So one, that would already be illegal. But two, I'm almost positive that in the press
It's
release,
illegal to make girls fall in love with you?
for the express purpose of bringing them back to another country to make them work as cam girls, yes. It's called sex trafficking.
That's
Yeah.
not sex trafficking.
That's called pimping. Yes.
You never had a girl
Okay.
fall in love with you?
So this was my prediction, and you're falling into this because you're a bot. I know the programming, right? So my prediction was that
You're vaccinated.
first he would get accused of this, and then you guys would come out and say, no, that would never happen. But the next step, when you start to realize what he's being accused of, is you would all go, oh, okay, well, that did happen, but it's not a big deal. And I think that's going to be your line throughout all of it. Is you're going to say, okay, yeah, okay, sure, he made girls fall in love with them. Sure, he brought them over. You're going to say things as dumb as like, yeah, maybe he stole from them by lying about their taxes, but is that even a crime? Which is insane.
Okay, so, but you're accusing him of very different crimes. Which one are you accusing him of?
Well, hold on. I'm just reading the press release from the Romanian.
Which one do you think that he's going to go down for? Like, do you genuinely think that he's a human trafficker?
Yes. Well, assuming if what he said was true, 100% yes. But I don't know how much he might just like ham up for YouTube or not. But if everything he said on the YouTube was true, on his YouTube videos, then 100%, yeah, he's a sex trafficker, of course.
Okay. This is a new definition of sex trafficking because they willingly were there. They were working. They had cameras everywhere.
What do you think willingly means? And no, they weren't able to leave because they were forced to perform.
Actually, no, a lot of them were encouraged to leave if they weren't abiding, if they weren't listening or they weren't being obedient. A lot of them.
The allegations were under threat of violence.
He's very
my
open
dude,
about all these podcasts
what
saying
does
that they can
threat?
leave whenever
What
they
does
wanted
threat
to.
of violence mean to you, my dude?
When did he threaten to hurt them?
I don't know when, but that was part of the public release, the press release. They were later forced to perform in pornographic content under threat of violence. The statement alleged.
There was no threat of violence. The one instance
How do you
that I know? You're talking
know?
about, because the one instance that I know that he talked about in a podcast was when one.
Why
girl
the fuck
threw
would
up-
I care what he said?
I'm answering something. Okay, so I'm responding to my dude, the threat of violence. The one thing that he talked about on a podcast was that a girl threw up in the apartment and she didn't want to clean it up, and so he threw her stuff out the window when she wouldn't leave. Any girl who wasn't abiding by the rules was encouraged to leave. They were never held there against their will.
Okay, so then this threat of violence thing is just totally made up then. You're saying the Romanian authorities are lying.
Maybe that's what they're trying to get him for, but there was no threat of violence.
Okay, how do you
not
square-
anything that he said on camera or anything like that. No.
Okay, oh, because he told you, and he's a good guy. He would never lie, right? Criminals never lie about, like, the criminal things they do, yeah?
Well, I've spoken to him, the stuff he's talking about on camera. What are you talking about? Are you talking about stuff he said on podcasts, or like what are you going?
Well,
off
in terms of
that he
him
threatened-
describing how he...
Yeah, that's a really big accusation. What are you citing that he threatened to hurt them?
I'm citing the Romanian authority press release. They were forced to perform in pornographic content under threat of violence. That's what the statement alleged.
Okay, and where do you see the threat of violence?
I don't. I'm not the prosecutor.
75 girls and then 2 guys, Andrew and Tristan, and all of them, 75 girls are scared of violence. How do you keep 75 girls in line with the threat of violence at the same? They were in love. There's no threat of violence. How do you? They could have an uprising if they wanted to.
Do you want to put money on this?
Money on what?
The $100 that there was absolutely no threat of violence. So you know that 100%. Because there's no way that you can know that, right? You're saying that like he's my friend or whatever, but you don't know that. You don't have access to the same data that the prosecutors have access to.
Destiny, how do you threaten
No, hold on.
75 women
Think
at the same
very
time?
easily with 5 large men. Why are you acting like an SJW now? Are you fucking retarded?
What 5 large men are you talking about?
Anybody. You could hire security. You have 75 girls that all weigh, what, 110 pounds? How many girls do you think it would take to take down Andrew Tate? How many could he take at once? You think 3 women are taking down Andrew Tate, the guy that was a fucking kickboxer? Right? Or they hire like 2 or 3 security?
No,
I want to hear you say that. I want to hear you say that. Give me a number. I want you to give me a number. How many men, how much security would they have to hire to take into account that they need 75 women to work under?
So now you're accusing the security?
No, I want to hear a number. I'm not moving on from this point. I want you to give me a number. I want to hear the SJW.
What number?
I want to hear the SJW Sneako tell me how many men would it take to keep 75 women working. I want to hear that number.
Under the threat of violence?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm not a sex trafficker.
No, I just want to hear. I just want to estimate. Take a guess.
To threaten 75 women with violence?
Yeah.
That against their will?
That's usually why you would threaten with violence, is because it's probably going to be against their will.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they can't go home and just go. You think?
Well, if they could go home, it wouldn't really be sex trafficking, would it be?
They can't go home, and every single day they're being held there against their will. They're not happy. They're just constantly working. They're on camera, so unhappy and so scared that they're still able to smile and chat and be a nice place for these simps to go and talk to women online. These women who are so manipulated.
Wow,
are still
you've
able to
never
talk in
heard
front
of somebody
camera.
who's like severely depressed, puts on a smile, kills themselves the next day? You've never heard of somebody in an abusive relationship that outwardly...
Every single day.
Okay, I just want to hear a number. What's the number? I want to hear the number. I want to hear the number. Give me the number.
I don't know the number, Destiny. I don't know the
number.
number.
Oh my God, you're being an SJW right now.
This is a scenario that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
No, this is the scenario that was. This is the. I know, and you're more of an SJW than me right now because you're talking about how strong women are. Oh yeah, like 75 women, they could easily overpower and rise up. Bro, how many slave owners were there to slaves in the United States for over 100 years? Right? What do you mean?
Did you even hear that they had security for these women? Where are you making?
I don't know if they did. I'm just saying.
If you don't know, then why am I answering your scenario that has nothing to do with the papers that you read from the Romanian government?
Because you're acting incredulous that they could be held there under threat of violence, and I'm curious where that incredulity comes from. Where you're like, no, impossible.
Well, I can answer that if there were armed guards and they were blocking the doors with their bodies, and that these girls weren't actually in love and weren't willingly doing this. Then yes, I can answer your question. But I'm not going to go and try to put more
go ahead
dirt on
and
their
answer
name
the
right
question.
Now when everybody
it's
with
not
blue
dirt
hair
on
is
the
attacking
name.
them.
This is shit that he said. He was fucking retarded enough to state all this shit publicly. He outs himself as a sex trafficker on his fucking YouTube, and now you're saying that like this is attacking him? This is all shit that he said. That's not what a
sex trafficker is. This is like being an OnlyFans pimp.
No,
this is
an OnlyFans pimp? Bro, when you're flying women to other countries to put them in a basement to work for you, that's fucking sex trafficking. What do you think sex trafficking is?
Do you think these women were there, like flew there unwillingly, or do they actually love?
I don't think they loved. They didn't fly there to work fucking OnlyFans. That's why he bragged about the fact that none of them had a history in the adult entertainment business.
Okay, so these girls were, how did they get there? Do you think some big bodyguard, these security guards that you're talking about, was sitting next to them on the plane with a bag?
No, he probably flew them there because they thought that he loved them.
Oh.
But he did it under false pretenses. Why are you going, oh, that's sex trafficking, my dude?
That's not a threat of violence. That's them being in love. Those are two very different things.
Yeah, initially, when they go there, that's under love. But when they're held there, they were later forced to perform pornographic content under threat of violence. That's what the statement said.
That's what the statement says. We'll see what happens. But there's a big difference between going there against their will.
Nobody said they went there against their will.
Smiling professionally in front of a camera.
That's how sex trafficking works.
While there's a gun pointed behind the computer screen and these girls are there.
You don't need a gun pointed there.
For simps there. That doesn't make any sense, Destiny.
Jesus.
That makes absolutely no sense.
Okay, gotcha. Damn, but like Hunter Biden selling secrets around the world trading under Joe Biden's name that we have no evidence for, that makes 100% perfect sense. That story.
When did I say that? When did I say that?
Oh, you don't believe any of the Hunter Biden stuff then? Oh, okay. At least you're consistent.
I believe
you're really
everything
skeptical.
They hid about the laptop. Of course they did. They didn't want Biden's name to be smeared, so they hid the laptop.
Do you think Biden was trading under his dad's name and performing illegitimate business?
I don't. They haven't released all the documents from the laptop yet. Then we'll figure it out.
Oh, okay. So same thing with we'll figure it out for Tate too, right? We don't know yet.
We will figure it out, but you're making heavy accusations for a man that everybody's targeting right now.
I'm not making heavy accusations. I'm just repeating.
No, you are.
What have I said that he hasn't said on video or that isn't in that
You're
statement?
assuming a lot about these women.
Sneako, I haven't assumed. Sneako, his own words were that he would get women to fall in love with them. He'd bring them to a dinner with another girl that he's pimping out. He'd get that girl to convince them to do sex work. He would steal from them by lying on their tax forms, and that he would do this to woman after woman. These are all his words. None of that. I'm not even making.
We know that.
What?
I'm talking about the threat of violence that you keep talking about.
The threat of violence I'm referring to is what was the Romanian police released.
Yeah, I know, but nothing in that story shows that there was an actual threat of violence. That's a serious accusation that you're sticking to.
That's what the trial is for. That's what the trial is for.
So we will see. But in what you're describing right now, I don't see at any point where there's a threat of violence. Seems like they were in love and they were competing for their attention. And that's
75 girls were in love and competing for his attention.
Hell yeah. When I was in Romania, 30 women were in love with Tristan Tate. I did not think it was possible, but seeing them, they all sit there obediently waiting for a drop of their attention. If they could do that same thing professionally with all their time focused on these girls, 100%. I saw it with my own eyes. I've never seen men capable of doing that before.
Of trafficking women? Bro, go to the hood, find some pimps. People do this all the time.
Love with them.
Yeah, pimps do this shit. What do you mean? What you're describing is pimping.
They never hit these women. There was
well, maybe you don't know that. They didn't do it in front of you.
We'll find out. You don't know either, but we'll
I don't, but the difference is I'm agnostic, and you're here saying that you can't even think that's a possibility. I'm the one being honest here. I don't know. It might be that nothing comes of this. That might be the case, but you're here saying, like, it's impossible. It's not impossible. And you still didn't give me a number. How many men would it take to keep 75 women locked in a fucking room doing fucking cam content?
If it comes out that there were armed guards like that were actually blocking that, I think that this is a hypothetical that I'm trying to get a clip from that I'm not going to answer because it's irrelevant to what the police are talking about right now.
So it would be like 4 people. You admit that then. You don't want to give the hypothetical because you know it would be a really low number.
4 for 75?
Yeah, easy. Maybe 2.
4 for 75?
Maybe 2.
I think they could go, okay, 4. They can go home for 4. They can go home for 4.
Two men at the front, big dudes with guns. They're just going to try to walk out? Are they going to make a plan and try to fucking...
So where are these 75? Are they all supervising them when they go to sleep?
They're probably not all working at the same time. But I don't know. They might be fucking... They might have a separate sleeping room. I don't know what their setup is like.
So there's a threat of violence. So they're coming in and out. So then one day they go to the coffee shop. They go to the yoga studio. Then on Wednesday, then they go and sell their bodies online.
Bro, if you're stuck in a foreign country, you're stuck in a foreign country with no fucking money. You might not even speak the language.
Stuck? You can get on a flight.
How do you know?
How do you know?
How do I know? You're the one that's making the accusation. I'm agnostic. I don't know. I'm just going by what the accusations are. You're the one saying it's impossible otherwise.
I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's extremely likely, and nothing from what I've seen being at their house and nothing about their character points to them threatening women.
Wait, hold on. Did Tate actually say he took their passports?
I don't know.
Hold on. Somebody in chat. Can somebody tell me? Did Tate actually say that? He might have said in his own words that he took their passports. Yes, he did say that. Okay, so that's how they can't leave then. He actually takes the passports. And he probably lies and he says it's for tax reasons. I think you're glazing right now, bro.
They could have asked for it back. They kicked out many women. Destiny, do you not hear about the podcast? You have selective hearing. You don't hear about how many times these women were acting up and they kicked him out because they didn't know how to obey?
Yeah, what you just said sounds like sex trafficking, my dude. I don't know how you don't understand that. Like, every time you talk to defend him, it sounds more and more like sex trafficking. Get that many women to obey him and work for him. They all sit there obediently, they don't say anything. That sounds like sex trafficking.
It sounds like they were in love.
And then being used to do sex work. Yeah, and then being used to do sex work that they had no prior history of. That sounds like sex trafficking.
Only stuff behind a camera?
Where they're in a country where they're being stolen from and they're not allowed to leave. Stolen. Tate's own words.
Did he ever say that?
Yes.
When did he say the passport thing? Send me the clip where he said that thing about the passport.
Somebody link me the video. Hold on. Give me 1 second. All right, bye. Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.